So, with Mayu finding herself in another sticky situation, locked up in this cell here, it's going to be up to us to find that key that we need to get her out of there. But first, there are a few new things in the Kurosawa house to get.
Don't stay with me. Mayu, don't forget your promise. I don't want to be alone. Break your promise again. Don't go. Please don't leave me here.
Well, don't worry, Mayu, we won't be too long. But you may have heard that little voice clip there. That is our indication that there is something new waiting nearby. And it's right in the altar room here. Now you may recall that we have been catching a number of vanishing ghosts involving children. And it seems that they have finally reared their mischievous heads to get us in this optional little battle here. Now the first thing to keep in mind is that there are 30 separate ghosts here with 3 separate life bars. And as such, you're going to have a little bit of a difficulty if you just happen to stick in viewfinder mode. The good news is that they have very little health in comparison to some of the enemies we've been facing currently. And their fatal frame opportunity is pretty large. Really, the only thing to keep in mind is that they do like to distract you. So as long as you don't keep in viewfinder mode and you keep your view, well, open to their movements, it's honestly not that difficult. All you need to do is play a bit of the waiting game, not get too distracted by their little playing, and wait for one to slowly slink his way towards you. Also, there is a shutter opportunity when they wave at you, but the window for that is pretty small. But as I mentioned, this is purely optional. It's only here for some additional points. There's no spirit stones or anything like that. But there is one other thing waiting for us back in that large sunken fireplace room. You may remember this little storage shed here. I think prior, this is where we found Masumi's vanishing ghost. And on New Game Plus with the sense function, we do find a hidden ghost here. And yet again, it is the geologist or surveyor Masumi. But with all that out of the way, we can actually exit the Kurosawa house now and make our way to our next destination, which from the map we got and the few hints here and there is going to be the Osaka house. Now, while never clearly pointed out as the Osaka house, that's where we got the camera obscura in the first update. So there is going to be a little bit of backtracking, but it won't be totally uneventful backtracking. And it does allow us to enjoy this brand new music track for this chapter. You see that the woman in a box isn't limited to mere boxes. This time she ambushes us down in this basement area. But with the large wide open room here, honestly, this isn't a difficult fight in the least. Especially now with a much more powered up camera. The only difficulty is in how much he's knocked back from the fatal frame. So it helps to keep in mind just how much health she needs before she'll start doing that plain rushing attack instead of just waiting to lunge at you. But with her out of the way, she actually leaves us a gift. In the form of another spirit stone, or spirit orb. The one problem is we are just a little bit short of maxing out the sensitivity, so I'm going to wait to power that up later. But with the key that we found in the folklore cell, we can easily make our exit out of the Kurosawa house finally. Also, for no explicable reason, our flashlight suddenly works. It will actually never work inside the Kurosawa house itself, maybe due to the stronger temporal effects of the house, or just to keep that lovely mood that the Kurosawa house has. Also, just a word of warning, you never want to chill on the Whispering Bridge for too long, as this is a prime location for the drowned woman to respawn. As you can probably tell from those bubbles, she did, but we don't have time to deal with her for right now. But you do want to remain aware as you head back to the Osaka house, as there are a few new vanishing ghosts. This one can be especially difficult to capture, as you may not be very aware that you can catch her through the bridge there. So we see the re-emergence of that kimono-clad figure that we've seen before. Seems that she might also be heading to the Osaka house.
It's our fault. Run away.
Or maybe not. As you could probably tell from the description on that particular vanishing ghost, she's actually headed to the storehouse where Itsuki is being held.
If it was to come to this, we should have done the ritual.
Yeah, she definitely seems pretty tore up about what ended up happening to Itsuki, even though I don't know if that means just being locked up or something much worse. In addition to that vanishing ghost, though, we do get another entry into the Butterfly Diary. Nothing too much to gain from here, outside, yet again, feeling bad and feeling to blame for whatever happened to Itsuki. In addition to that, we do get another radio stone from Sai.
Come back now. Leave me alone. It's dark here. I don't want to be alone. Yai.
And in keeping with the theme of clingy creepiness, Mayu's charm has an update, so let's listen to that real quick.
I want to see Itsuki. Say I'm sorry. It's all our fault. If we hadn't run away. Itsuki and the others. It didn't have to be this way.
Now, while their radio stones are pretty clearly drawing us to Itsuki, I do still feel that we pretty evidently need to go to the Osaka house, so after finally fully upgrading the sensitivity here, I think we're just gonna skip Itsuki and head straight to the Osaka house. See no reason not to. I mean, we did get that highly descriptive map from the folklore cell, and I'm sure that'll be enough to figure out what we need to do in the Osaka house to find the key to that cell that Mayu is trapped in. Now, since we are revisiting the Osaka house, that does mean that there are a few new vanishing ghosts. And there are probably about 2 or 3 of them that you can only get in New Game Plus, such as in the main hallway here. And in case you're wondering why that's called the Pulled Shadow, as we get closer, we see Masumi dragged underneath that little storage area. But for right now, we're just going to do a little quick check through each one of the rooms, as pretty much each one of them has something new for us. First being in the kimono room over here. Now, initially, we don't see any new items. But as we head back here where we saw the woman in a box the first time on New Game Plus, there is a hidden ghost. You can probably already guess who it is, but we get a lovely view of the tormented face of the woman in a box. Otherwise, though, there are no new items in here, sadly. Next, we are going to check in the little tatami room over here. And yet again, as we survey the general area, it doesn't seem like there are any new items. Certainly nothing moving under that futon there. And in case you were curious as to whether or not there is something in here,
Where is he?
well, it just requires finding the semi-difficult to find event queue. It seems that Miyako is still stalking about this place looking for Masumi. But our next port of call is up here on the 2nd floor in the large guest room. Now you have to be on your toes for this particular vanishing ghost, as it's one of those sneaky kids that we fought earlier. Can be a bit difficult to miss. And what's even more difficult to miss is this item here, which is another spirit orb. Yeah, they just continue to throw these things left and right at us, but well, there doesn't seem to be anything else waiting for us up here, especially no hidden compartments or, well, places we need to find that key. So I think the next most viable place to check would probably be that back room. Maybe something is waiting in that atrium or hidden away in that brazier. Well, we see a brand new item on the ground, but we also get a pretty unexpected visit from a new random ghost. Now, while initially this might just look like the man in darkness, this is actually his female counterpart, the woman in darkness. She doesn't really show up as a normal ghost. She's always pretty much a randomized ghost encounter. And I think that's mostly due to her being a lot easier than the male version. As you can probably tell, she's extremely slow, has an even larger shutter chance than her male counterpart, and I think the only advantage she has over the man in darkness is just a larger health pool. But with all that out of the way, we can already see that there are two items waiting in the room here. So first we're going to pick up the one on this set of pillows here, as it is a brand new addition to the camera. Now, while the alarm feature isn't a massive change to the camera, it does allow us to hear a tone whenever a fatal frame is available, so it might make getting fatal frames a little bit easier. But more importantly, where we saw Miyako being choked by the possessed Masumi, find a final letter here from Masumi himself. Seems he had something to tell Miyako. And, well, if you're wondering what that might be, maybe the radio stone nearby will elucidate that a little bit. Before that, though, we have an extremely dangerous optional encounter here. It's our first opportunity to fight Masumi himself. But the real difficulty is in the fact that we're fighting a couple, and the timing of their attacks actually makes it so that, well, while you're trying to get a fatal frame on one, the other is quite likely pretty much going to choke you. And especially given the arena that we have to fight in, it can be extremely difficult to say the least. Especially considering that their fatal frame opportunity is really only open after they completely miss attacking you. Now, I'd say the only real benefit is that their attack pattern is pretty easy to read, but the one thing you want to keep in mind when fighting them is that you really want to kill one and not try to wear them both down at the same time. Because as you might recall, whenever you wore down Miyako, she would start to do a charging attack, and Masumi has something very similar. And especially given this very small arena, having them rush at you from two different directions can make fighting them even more difficult. But after defeating them on New Game Plus, there is actually a hidden ghost waiting in here. And as we've already found Masumi's, you can probably assume what we're going to find here is the hidden ghost for Miyako herself. Also, this is the very final sequence for the side quest involving that bloody ring in all the surveyor's notes. The only real benefit is that it helps us to finish off the spirit guide and to get a few extra points, but otherwise it's a bit of an oddity, especially in regards to the fact that it's really easy to overlook. But with that, we only have one more room to check in the Osaka house. And that is that small family altar room where we found the camera obscura. Now that vanishing ghost gives us a very important hint in regards to the fact that Itsuki might know just what we need to open this secret compartment here. And the real reason that I didn't go talk to Itsuki first is because this vanishing ghost would not be here if we had talked to him beforehand. So it's kind of a little dick move in case you did happen to go to Itsuki first, knowing that, well, the game was pretty clearly telling you to go there. But I was just wanting to check the family altar there. It seems like it might be of some importance. In addition to that, we have a new item here. Very important. This is the Type 0 film. This is the most powerful film in the game, and you will be getting very, very, very little of it. Normally, the Type 14 pickups will give you about 20 pieces of film, but that Type 0, each pickup only gives you about 3 pieces of film. So you need to save that for very, very special occasions. But with all that out of the way, I guess we really have no other place to go than to head to Itsuki and see what he has to say.
Come here, Yae.
And as you can probably assume, he very blatantly tells us what we need to do in the Osaka house. Seems there is something important in that family altar that we were searching before.
Don't give up. We can get out.
Now, as to why we couldn't just figure this out ourselves, I don't really honestly know. All I can say is padding, I guess. Well, let's just go ahead and skip back to the altar room. As we investigate the family altar this time around, it does show us the aforementioned pinwheel puzzle. This is mostly just trial and error. As we turn one of these wheels, it will turn the center wheel. And all we need to do is make sure after all 4 turns are up that all of the center 4 colors are touching the correct corresponding colors on the outside. Really no penalty for getting that wrong. While it doesn't initially do anything, it actually unlocks this hidden door here. And it leads us into a brand new area of the Osaka house. Rather unexpectedly into a incredibly rocky area of the Osaka house. Yeah, you might recall from the surveyor's notes that we found earlier that there was a mention of underground tunnels connecting a lot of the village. The surveyor had really no idea how to find them, but it seems we might have stumbled on them accidentally. Also, we find a brand new radio stone. So I think we might as well go ahead and give that a quick listen, see what it might be holding.
Lost village. There must be a way out of here. How many days has it been since I came here?
Also forgot that radio stone from Asumi, but as you can tell, not a whole lot of new information there.
Somebody, please find me. I don't want to be alone. I'm here. I'm here. Somebody.
Not really sure who that could be. Maybe the woman in a box, but why on earth would she be down here in these caves? We also find here another stone mirror, but since we already have one, we can't pick up another. And hidden in these boxes is an item, and it's more herbal medicine. Oh, sorry, it's Type 14 film, my bad. Actually, we find here a bizarrely placed film reel. Otherwise, though... Geez, have we reached another dead end? I mean, there's a cave-in over there. Maybe something's waiting in this crate. And say hello to the mourner, the mad, blind workers for the gates of hell. Now, as was mentioned earlier in the game, these guys do not have the ability to see, but what they lack in hearing, they make up for, or what they lack in sight, they make up for in hearing, and a rather nasty combo attack. Yeah, these guys are pretty much the blind woman, or the equivalent to the blind woman for the first game. And while I do make it seem like they are a really difficult fight, in all actuality, they are pretty easy to abuse. Now, while their shutter chance for a fatal frame is pretty small, they do have a very large tell when you're far away, that you can just get a normal shutter chance on them when they try to focus their hearing. But if you are brave, you can rush up to them and force them into a fatal frame situation, though as you can tell, getting grabbed by them is pretty damaging. Thankfully, as you can tell, the game has been pretty gracious with its healing items. Also, in that cutscene, you did see a key drop, and this is the key to Mayu's cell, finally. I'm not sure how we would have been able to find it without that cutscene, but there you go. So it does look like there is a longer tunnel here. I don't know, maybe we'll explore the rest of that later, but for right now, we should head back to the Kurosawa house and finally free Mayu. Hi there, Miyako. Yeah, she isn't done with us just yet. But, you know, praise be to the heavens, as this will be our last enemy encounter with Miyako. And she doesn't gain any new abilities here. She's actually a little bit slower than she was in that previous fight. Really, the only difficulty yet again is just how much health she has, and the fact that her fatal frame opportunity is a tad bit small. But as we've had Blast powered up, and our sensitivity powered up, it's an extremely short fight. Now there was one other quick out-of-the-way thing I want to get done in this particular chapter before we head back to the Kurosawa house, and it's all the way back in the All Gods Cemetery. Now this is something you can technically get later on in the game, but it never hurts to go ahead and get it out of the way now, as there are less random ghosts. But as you patrol the cemetery here, you do get a visit from a vanishing ghost. And it's another one of those rambunctious children. But that's all we have to do up here, so it's right back into the village and back to the Kurosawa house for us. Even though, well, we just got 4,000 points from that vanishing ghost alone, so yeah, let's go ahead and finish up accumulation. We'll have the basic functions powered up soon enough. But I won't be messing with the other power-up lenses just yet, as we will be getting some better ones later on. we do get a new vanishing ghost here as we head back to the Kurosawa house. Not too certain who that was. Seemed like a new figure, but it wasn't one of the 3 children we have taken photos of before. Also a tad bit amazed that for all the vanishing ghost and random ghost encounter and overall enemy encounters we've had to deal with in this particular chapter, the journey back to the Kurosawa house is a pretty quiet one. Also a very small but interesting audio cue that happens whenever you're on the Whispering Bridge, but any background music seems to cease whenever you're crossing it. I think it's a nice little touch. Yeah, we can't enter the front door still. They're locked by some mysterious force. And even taking the side entrance still causes our flashlight to go out, so I guess it's a good thing that all the lights are still on inside the Kurosawa house. But yet again, the basement seems to be Ghost Central, at least in the way of enemy encounters, as we've now had to fight 2 mourners at once. Now, the one thing to keep in mind is that even as you get one's attention by hitting it, that film shooting will actually cause the other one to attack as well. Thing you want to keep in mind is that pretty much after every time you attack them, they'll go into that 3-hit combo. But in the end, it's not too difficult to dodge, and if you are super lucky, you can take them out both with a single blast. It's just a tiny roadblock, because we are mere inches away from freeing our sister, and finally being back on track to making our way out of the village. But, wait. Is she further back in the cell? It's a tad bit quiet otherwise. So, maybe she did seek shelter back in the cell and she's asleep. Oh God! Come on, Mayu, you gotta be in here. Or not? God damn it! Where the hell did Mayu go? Well, maybe this note will elucidate that somewhat. Seems she's still very struck with this hallucination that she has some need to seek an apology from Itsuki. I'm not sure what that other name was. Also, we get another picture of Itsuki. So I guess maybe Mayu headed back to the storehouse.
You two go on by yourselves. Don't look back.
Don't leave me behind! Come on!
Left your sister to die.
Yai will come back for me. She will. Itsuki. I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
Yeah, somehow or another, Mayu managed to completely slip by us on the single available route out of the Kurosawa house. But maybe if we hurry, we can catch up to her. The storehouse isn't too far away. I think as long as we don't run into any new enemy encounters, it should be clear sailing, and maybe we can shake some sense into her. Still, though, it is a bit frightening that she is managing to pick up on some of these names and words that I don't know how she would have heard of otherwise. I mean, maybe we would have mentioned Itsuki, but that other name we have no earthly idea of. Sorry, Limbo Man, we don't have time for you. We have a sister to find. And for a second opportunity, we can capture the corridor woman yet again. Still, though, this only counts as one separate entry into the spirit list, so it's more or less just a second opportunity. But the real question is, how did Mayu get up there? And with that handy-dandy camera angle, we know exactly where we need to go. Now, this door has been unlocked since, I think, about Chapter 2, but, well, any time before that, we really had no reason to explore this tiny little house. So, before we head up to the second floor, we might as well pick up this item. More handy herbal medicine. And give a little bit of an exploration, as there is a single room we can explore here on the first floor. And we find a mysterious projector with a film that might not have made sense if we had come in here earlier, but we have actually been to that location before. Maybe not that fully into, but well, let's see if this other film reel has something interesting on it. Yeah, that one I'm currently not too sure about, but I think we might be able to figure that out later. Otherwise, though, we'll keep in mind this projector for later, as we will be getting more film reels, though they are all completely optional to view. Let's see what the second floor has waiting for us. I think I'm fairly certain that this door over here is going to lead out into that bridge we saw before. Also, it may have been a bit difficult to see, but there is a radio stone waiting for us on the bridge. Probably go ahead and give that a quick listen to. I get a feeling that that was probably that crooked-necked woman we saw on the bridge earlier, but we see that Mayu's charm has an update.
The twins' house over the bridge. A log house connected by heaven and earth. I had to mention
Well, I guess that makes more sense now. Mayu never did see Atsuki in the storehouse, so she must have been heading to his house. Still not sure how she might have known that, but well, it's right in here. Well, how did Mayu get in here? Oh well, I guess we'll have to find another way. But not before dealing with that broken-necked woman that we saw earlier. Now, while Fatal Frame 1 did have its own version of the broken-necked woman, I feel like this one manages to be a lot creepier. And yet extremely, extremely easy. Her attack is very largely telegraphed as she dips down, and the shutter opportunity is very large. The only thing really to worry about is the fact that if you get too close, she will instantly grab you and do a little bit of damage. Otherwise, though, she isn't really too difficult to deal with. The question remains, though, how do we get inside the twins' home? Well, I guess it's good that the folklorist got around and found all the answers for us ahead of time. But Still leaves in a question how we're supposed to get into the underground. I mean, the one area we've been in was very much a dead end. But we do find a brand new power-up lens here. This is the stun lens. It's the direct power-up from the slow lens. Now, this is a bit difficult to understand, but as opposed to the slow lens, which is just a permanent slowdown, the stun will occasionally fully stop a ghost for a few seconds. Really not that useful, and still in this case it's more often than not better to use the blast lens. But we find our answers that we are looking for in the folklorist diary. Seems that 2 of the main houses for the village were connected by that bridge, and it allowed for the twins that were going to be used as the sacrifice to pass freely between the 2. And I think the Tachibana house is where the male twins lived. So I get a feeling that we're going to have to somehow make our way into the Kiru house. In addition to that, we do find what I'm assuming to be the radio stone for the folklorist. So let's go ahead and give that a quick listen.
The ritual taking place in this village cannot be spoken about. The ritual throwing one of the twins into the land of dead.
Yeah, I think some of this information was meant to be picked up earlier to add to the mystery as to what the ritual might be and just what might be going on in the village. So some of this might be a bit outdated, such as, well, the importance of the shrine maidens and the twins and how they were the sacrifice for the forbidden ritual. Still, though, at least we have some better idea as to where we have to head to next. And considering the limited amount of houses we haven't been in yet, or that even seem accessible at all, we really only have one other choice of building to go to. But really, in case you needed some further hint as to where to go, yet again we have a very helpful vanishing ghost to show us just where we need to head. The problem is that, well, our viewfinder is turning blue, and for some reason this door is now locked by an evil spirit. That for some reason is locked by the well near the storehouse. That seems entirely pointless, but I guess you can't argue with ghosts. Before we head over to the well, though, there is an easily missed hidden ghost over here by one of the deity stones, the guardian stones. Yep, just a hung man. So let's pop over to the well really quick. Take a quick pointless photo. And with this little bit of padding out of the way, we'll pop right back to the door we've just unlocked. Actually, really not sure why they decided to make this the lock for the door, but there you go. And I think with that, we'll go ahead and call it an episode. Hopefully you'll join me next time as we head into the Kiru house and see what is waiting for us inside. See you then.